Hey, beautiful people, community, friends and family, a beloved Teaghlach Mystery School. Once again, I have something a little different for you today. This hits hard, from harm to healing, part 3. A personal share from me, but inside this, I really do believe there are keys, nuggets of gold, and just maybe there is something here that meets you where you are. And if you haven't watched already, part 2 and 1 are really worth a watch. They are short videos, but I do deeply believe they carry keys, especially around alchemy, transformation, healing and pain. So there I was a couple weeks ago, and I woke up in agony. And I know pain, but this, it was different. It was sharp, it was relentless, it was also really frightening. I mean, it was scary. And what I come to realise, it was wheat, rye, barley, a cauldron of all of those things all at once. And the pain just rolled through the week into the next. And then really what started to really identify what was going on was that I was eating up until around my birthday really kind of clean, really simple, fish and rice, vegetables, eggs in the morning on a piece of sourdough. And then in around my birthday, of course, and then beyond that, this pain continued. And then one evening I remember waking up and just having a glass of cordial, a simple glass of fruit and barley, and I woke up and I've never felt so unwell in my life. And then what happened was, from that point I become anxious to eat because of the pain that was going to follow. And here's the thing, what seemed a very innocent glass of fruit and barley become the very thing I've realised in the last couple of weeks that tipped me over the edge. Okay, then from what seemed out of nowhere, the right people appeared at the right time, carrying the keys to unlock this. So side by side, meeting me toe to toe, the right people appeared. It's almost like the universe, the unseen, were conspiring to help me alongside this. Okay, so they seem to appear out of nowhere at the right time, carrying these keys to unlock this. The right people, the right timing, what was buried become illuminated. It become a huge freaking blessing in disguise. And I had completely forgotten what my body already knew, or had I? Part 2, you'll really be able to illuminate that. Had I? See, the thing is, in the previous years, the meds, the anti-inflammatories for the AS, the ankylosing spondylitis, had been masking it all. And after a lot of deep work becoming med-free over the last 2 years, and I have quite a story about how the unseen intervened with that. And some of you may know that story. It's one I share from time to time within our soul alchemy journeys. Yet, as I often say, the doctors are not the problem. They were trained by the same system. They are doing what they are taught. The training is the problem. The system is the problem. See, modern medicine, without a doubt, saved lives, and we need it. And we must be grateful for that. But here's the thing, it stopped asking why we get sick. It stopped asking why we get sick. Now it just manages us and therefore keeps us sick. I remember the unseen saying to me one day, and they placed this question so firmly upon me that it absolutely just shook me, ruptured, and served as an awakening. And that question was this: do doctors have patients, or do they have customers? See, here in the USA, we take more pills than any other country on earth. Yet we are also the sickest. That does not feel like by accident. That kind of feels like by design. See, the thing is, you're not broken, you're not crazy, you're not alone. You are inside a system that was built this way. And no one told you there was another way out. I think with all the care that I've been under over the years with the AS, why was it not even considered that the gluten was a driver behind everything? Okay? No one told us there was another way out, and there is. I absolutely now know with my hand on my heart that food is medicine and healing can be simple. I deeply feel I'm beginning to find my way out as I continue to move from harm to healing. And if I can, you can. And the difference for me right now is like day and night. You see, the thing is, even the slightest of crumbs can trigger a flare. That simple glass of cordial tipped me over the edge, fruit and barley. You see, the word gluten comes from the Latin word gluten, which means glue. See, in ancient Rome, gluten referred to this kind of sticky glue-like substance. So they borrowed the word. That glue is what? It holds bread together. It gives dough its stretch and chew. It traps air bubbles so bread can rise. But here's the thing, it didn't turn overnight into the villain. It's more like this slow drift. Farming, food processing, medicine and lifestyle all stacking up on top of each other until, for a lot of people, the body just says no more. And as a dear friend was telling me, it's around about 64% of people that are suffering with it are undiagnosed. You know, and the other misconception here is living gluten-free isn't just about avoiding bread. It's about reading every label, questioning every ingredient, double-checking every product. And now that might sound like, to some people, really restrictive or a faff, but the difference between wellness and health and well-being and pain and everything that comes with that is like night and day. Because gluten doesn't always say wheat, it can hide other names like barley, malt, rye, semolina, spelt, bulgur. And the other thing is, it is hiding in so many other products out there. And one missed ingredient can mean pain. It can mean pain. It can mean inflammation. It can mean fatigue, brain fog, and days and days and days of recovery. And that's why I've started to understand that what I was doing back in my 20s and 30s, thinking I was just like, that just feels like a faff, you know. But it isn't, you know, and that's why, you know, reading those labels isn't being dramatic. Really, we're being kind of asked to go back to simple ingredients, and that live food and simple ingredients, that is about protecting your health. And that is the movement, that is the movement that where we begin to take back our food. we are then taking back our health. We are taking back our bodies. We're not waiting for the system to tell the truth. We are the truth now. And we've been taught to dismiss it, to laugh it off. I know I did in my late teens, 20s, definitely into my 30s. More awareness around that. I was like, that's just some, allergy. I'm starting to feel better now. Well, of course I did, because I was away from it. And then I was on the painkillers, and I had my first hip replacement. I was feeling better, I went back on it, but it's been masked by the anti-inflammatories and the painkillers. Last couple of years coming off them, it's revealed, it's shown me that one glass of fruit and barley, boom, illumination. So we've been taught to dismiss it, to laugh it off. Not anymore, because now there is more awareness. And I've sat, very deeply about sharing this. Do I need to share it? Should I share it? And I felt very nudged too, because if it helps one person, so if you are suffering with inflammation, maybe take a deeper dive into this. So if this helps one person, then our work is done. Because there is now more awareness. That's becoming more embodied in this time. And more than that, for me, there's care, a deeper sense of self-care, a rooted, grounded willingness to actually listen and respond, the ability to see, in all ways. And that is where change happens. Not before, now, when there's a real willingness to care for self. And I don't want to go back there. That's a line that's been drawn. And for me, that holds power in that. So yes, this has been big, messy, real. Because true healing is not pretty. And sometimes it takes things getting bad enough so that we finally choose differently. And sometimes, and quite often, that becomes the doorway. Sometimes we become so traumatized enough to do the work. It gets bad enough, we do anything. Yet the thing is, the awareness has come at a time I am open and ready to do what is required, and I now refuse to go back to that place of pain. And that becomes really powerful. It's not always that something is bad for you. More than not, it's just that it's no longer right for you. And I never truly saw how deep this runs. So yes, my birthday, the cauldron of beer, pasta, bread, and everything that come with it lit the fire. That one simple glass of cordial of fruit and barley just tipped it over the edge. So in doing so, it revealed everything, and the right people showing at the right time with the information just illuminated. And now it's turning it another layer of alchemy in motion, from lead to gold. But let me be real with you, there's grief in this too. Seeing how I pushed myself, how I ignored the signals, how unkind I was to my own body without even realizing. And that quiet voice that you hear out there, a little won't hurt. But sometimes it does. Because processed food for some of us can be poisonous. So I'm in recovery, but I'm also in clarity and strangely peace. Another turn of the wheel, another layer transmuted. From harm to healing we go, from lead to gold. And we nourish, not punish. The difference in how I'm feeling is like night and day. So I encourage you very gently to save this or send it to someone who was told a little won't hurt, or that pills and surgery are their only option. As always, sending you all so much love. Keep shining.